it's Bunni Spooks! Today we're reading a story by Thomas Duder, the author of The Things. And The Things that he is the author of is the Generalist series, which is a book series you could check out online. If you like magic and urban ass-kicking adventures, that's what he writes, so check that out. Also, he's in a band called Anubis Unit, and their music is godly dick metal, so, the name fits it all, so maybe check them out if you're into that kind of music. Anyways, the story is called A Mere Whisper. Prepare to be spooked. Purr, 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 purr. Henry Donaldson chuckled lightly to himself as he stroked the small black kitten in his lap, gazing into the fireplace of his small but stately home. A retiree and a grandparent, he retained a somewhat active lifestyle, having dedicated his life to woodworking and the martial arts alike. From the kitchen came the humming of his longtime love and wife Cheryl, a kitchen witch and baker by trade. She followed alongside his Tai Chi Chuan routines, but mostly kept her own baking, reading, and all-encompassing research of the fine art itself. Between the two of them, though, they had initially promised to never again acquire a kitten in their twilight aging years, having lived through the death of 3 rather long-lived, very beloved felines. The memory of this particular one, though, little Lakshmi, still lay rattling within his mind, alongside the tiny voice that had called out to them both from a cold and rainy dark alleyway on a night about a month ago. Me! Help me! Me! Having found the kitten who had wandered away from a somewhat dry-looking nest for a feral, the kind some had made and left out for winter or rainy days, providing temporary homes for the urban feral cats, Henry and Cheryl both shared a surprise as the kitten trotted up to them, winding her way about their ankles and meowing loudly. Mine! Me! Take me home! It was Cheryl who had named the little kitten Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of fortune. Was it not fortunate that the little kitten had somehow acquired a telepathy that only they could hear? Indeed, through trial and error and experimentation, they both realized while they themselves could hear her perfectly when she actively used it, none other could. Petting her with his rough, dry hand gently, Henry mused on the small bundle of black fur and beautiful green eyes. Tiny, but terribly swift with tiny claws and fangs. While she was loving as all get out, she could grow playful and feisty within a whisper of a moment. Play! She would gleefully declare, flipping from her back where she had been receiving warm belly rubs by the fire, to immediately wrapped around the target's hand in a fiery hug, biting gently and scratching with her back claws. Play! For all that she scratched and bit, leaving marks, she would also gaze lovingly up at them. For all that, they could scold or punish her, but they instead decided to put up with it, petting her sometimes as she scratched further, only to declare mentally, Dad, Mommy, So it was. They spent a halcyon month of delight playing with the kitten and taking care of her daily needs, watching her grow from a tiny kitten to a slightly larger but still tiny kitten. It was within that time that Cheryl revealed to Henry that the kitten had named herself. Our little Shmee, Cheryl noted as Henry held a ribbon over her head, prompting the kitten to leap and chase after it. She told me her name herself. What? Henry blinked back at her as the kitten nibbled for the ribbon. Mine, give me toy, give toy Lashley. See? Cheryl nodded towards the kitten, licking frosting from her fingertips. Like that. She went from calling herself me to Lakshmi instead. When I asked her if she knew what the name meant or where she got it from, she just ignored me. Give toy. Give toy. Lakshmi, mine, me. Bah, she's our little long, Henry cackled as he caused her to run around in circles for the ribbon. Our little potato shmoo. The schmoops is cute as always today, Cheryl chuckled as she joined in her husband, both perching over the stuffed comfortable brown couch as Henry reached out and continued to play with the kitten, both delighting in her playful contortions, leaps and swipes at the red ribbon. The kitten, demanding the toy more and more, looked at them both for a moment and cried out happily within their minds, "Ashmi, Mommy, Daddy, love, get to it." When a voice, reverberating, shook the very foundations of the house, Henry immediately bolted from the daybed he had taken a nap on, leapt in his project room for such an occasion. Cheryl was nowhere to be found, and it took him a foggy second to remember she was shopping with their children and grandchildren that day. He, himself, had retired for the day from his latest woodworking project, a new crib for one of the youngest of his brood, their first great-grandchild. Feeling the ache in his bones fleeing quickly due to the rush of adrenaline, he realized that every bit of his awareness was tuned only to one thing, the sense of immediate and absolute danger, a sense he hadn't suffered in many a year. His focus sharpened to a dangerous level. Henry grabbed a nearby table leg as a club and proceeded to prowl through the house, noting each room filled with purpose, function, or fancy. His own grandfather had built the home, and the land itself had been won through a poker game, so the legend spoke. Having lived such a long life, he was not afraid of death, nor was he afraid of the supernatural. Despite himself, he found himself incredibly wary and ready when, entering the living room, he saw the tiny black kitten sitting on her haunches, lost in the exact center of the room amidst a wash of white carpeting. Her eyes wide, but slid into mirror lines, staring intently at the darkened, abandoned corner of the room. He then realized within a split second a surge of strength empowered through the years of survival and rigorous training alike that the voice that had awakened him was not Lakshmi's. Well, you know what they say, you can't have Lakshmi without a Lakshmi. Also, beware of demons masquerading as Hindu goddesses. I don't know what they say about taking care of that, so if you're like a demon hunter or something, leave a comment below letting us know how you'd handle that situation. And if you have any spooky, scary stories you want me to read on the channel, send them to BunniSpooks@gmail.com. Spook you soon!